creation tips. Decide on a format that makes sense to you and rename your assignments to make it easier for you to manage your gradebook. When scheduling an assignment, rename the assignment before you assign it, as this cannot be changed after it is assigned. Including the due date in your title may also be of value to you. Some teachers preface assignments with week 1, 2, so they can quickly locate them in their gradebook and also export to a spreadsheet to calculate improvement over time. Method book assignments. Some notes about method books. We all know that method book organization is usually progressive in nature. Our teaching tendency is to start at the first line, top of a page, and progress through each line in the book in the order it is written. With that knowledge, create an assignment that requires your students to submit that culminating line from the method book. This teaching assignment suggestion assumes the teacher either has a hard copy of the method book or knows it very well. In your instructions to the student, say something like, before working on this piece to be submitted, you must practice lines 1 through 8 over the next several days. When you feel you are doing well with those lines, begin looking at the piece I have assigned for you to submit. I'll be checking analytics to ensure you have been practicing the preparation material that gives you the skills to play the line I assigned. You probably will not have to check every individual student. If you listen to the assignment and it sounds excellent, the students likely did the preparatory work you asked them to do. You can check and see if each student did go through the introductory required lines if you want. This tip gets your students practicing the material you want without loading up your gradebook with assignments to grade, and prevents them from feeling overwhelmed with assignments to hand in. You are also developing the culture of self-assessment and deliberate practice by doing method book assignments this way. Use video assignments to get even more practice information from your students. We now have a new option, as is highlighted on your screen, that you can now ask your students to submit their assignment using their device's camera, showing you how the student is performing at home. Having the ability to see how our students are practicing and performing has been a vital part of assessment from the very beginning. Now, when teachers create assignments in MakeMusic Cloud, they will be able to select if the assignment should be audio only or include student video. Use the new video option toggle to turn on video for an assignment and then continue through the assignment creation process as normal. Note, this new feature is not available for any sight reading assignments at this time. When students open a video assignment, they will be prompted to enable camera access. Students will also need to enable camera permissions on their web browser to allow access to the camera. Within a video assignment, students have the autonomy to turn the camera on and off. If a student fails to submit a recording that a teacher is requiring, the assignment can be reassigned. Students can also hide the video during a recording to minimize distractions as desired. When reviewing a recording, students can slow the tempo down to more clearly hear how they are playing. The video and audio will slow down simultaneously and stay in sync with one another and the music notation. Assignment submissions work the same way for students. They can select their best recording and easily submit it to their teacher. When teachers receive a submission, they have access to view the video and can slow the tempo down to better inspect technique, keeping the audio, video, and notation in sync with excellent quality. Teachers can also download student video recordings the same way they can already download audio submissions. To get you started, here are a few quick ideas. Add a rubric item for posture or hand position that can be assessed with a video assignment. Check for appropriate alternate fingering usage. For marching band, this tool is a great way to individually assess student execution of visuals, horn moves, and choreography. Use video assessment to see how students are executing specific performance techniques. If you have issues, be sure to check out our article in the Help Center, Video Assignment Troubleshooting. Have fun with your video assignments. Units. Building units saves you time in the future. Units can be used to keep routine practices organized for you and your students, such as sight reading proficiencies, scale tests, etc. You could build a unit that includes all of your performance pieces, requiring your students to pass them off 2 weeks prior to the concert. This gets them in shape for performance and gives you the opportunity to put the shine on their work. Schedule multiple sight reading assignments. Create one sight reading builder assignment. Go through the assignment process, assign the SRB exercise, and create an assignment template. Make sure you've labeled this assignment so that it contains the parameters you use to create the sight reading assignment. Once you have created the first assignment, duplicate it for as many times as you may want to assign the same parameters. For example, 3/4 time, key of D, quarter notes, eighth notes, dotted halves. I want to have students work on this criteria for a 4-week period. Rename the assignments week 2, week 3, week 4. Now go to units, create a sight reading unit, and add your SRB assignment template. Once the template is added to the unit, add the duplicated assignments for as many times as needed. Add the copies to the unit and assign the unit. Each assignment will automatically generate a unique sight reading example based on the initial criteria you set up. You can then look at that 4-week period and assess if students have improved sight reading music with these criteria settings. Share your sight reading builder outline. Your students can open this sight reading builder outline and get a different sight reading example each time using the same parameters you set the assignment to. Create a template in SRB that helps students that already have good reading skills learn to sight sing without boring the student by not challenging them rhythmically. You can do this by choosing a high-level example but changing the pitches to be used to only the first 3 notes in the chosen key. The randomly generated examples would be rhythmically appropriate, but only have do, re, mi in all keys. You can then add the 4th and so on as the student develops. Comments box. This is one of the most powerful aspects of using MakeMusic Cloud. You can be instructing and encouraging your students anytime, anywhere, without other students in the room. Being in the cloud creates a safe environment where students are more likely to succeed and not be fearful of fellow students' judgment. Assigning a number to an assignment is not as informative to your students as giving verbal feedback. Using the comments box is your gateway to reaching, understanding, and motivating your students to strive for their best results. Make the requirements for students to give you feedback in the comments box a habit. It should become a part of your teaching routine. In return, you must also use the comments box, offer additional instruction or emotional support. Sometimes a simple remark such as "this sounds fantastic" can mean so much to your students. The fact that you are in direct contact with your student and not in front of other students amplifies the meaning of such interactions. The comments box can be an open-ended, rich resource for instruction. Consider using the comments box to teach your students how MakeMusic Cloud works. Use it to onboard your students, giving them a non-graded exploratory assignment that leads them to learn how to open method books, record, search, Have them make a recording of the environment they are practicing in and tell students to describe in the comments box anything they hear. Create an assignment where you send them something in silence or create a composed piece with no playback. Give them a reward by putting a secret code word in your instructions that they have to include in their response. Now you are teaching them to read the instructions. Ask the student, what parts did you hear? What did you find hard? What did you do to improve your results? As you look at the screen, you can see the student gave a comment, and then the teacher also gave a comment back to the student. This completes the circle of musical life inside of MakeMusic Cloud. Create a non-graded practice class. You can assign material like warm-ups, exercises, method books, ensemble music, anything that you would like your students to do, and make it fun, and so it doesn't fill up your grade book and they don't feel like they have to achieve a certain level. Think of this class as a way to get your students to show up on the first day in September to begin making music. This concept can easily be adapted for winter or spring break as a way to keep your students playing. If you have a marching band, this is your way to get your students to the field with the music portion of the show ready for drill work. Consider rewards, levels, badges, etc. to acknowledge those accomplishments. Make it fun. Give them variety. Try stuff they normally do not get a chance to do during the school year. Consider making a separate sight reading challenge class where you're rewarding students for sight reading each day, not how high they score. Add a practice incentive to your assignments. You will need to listen to student submissions to determine their performance tempos. Tradition of Excellence, Technique, and Musicianship Band Method book uses this approach for several technique exercises. The Habits of a Successful Musician series also has material that can be used in the same way. Consider designing rubrics to help with this tip. This tip could be applied to all musical performance elements, dynamics, articulations, intonation, tone, and phrasing. Which brings us now to rubrics. To encourage proper practice, rubrics are a powerful method for focusing students on details and informing them up front what is great and what needs further practice. Create rubrics that inform and guide your students towards better performance. Consider creating rubrics that reward students for slowing down an assignment in order to improve accuracy, or grading students on improvement. Play a variety of random examples for the students to grade using your rubrics in order to see if they have a good understanding of what is actually being graded. Have older students guess their rubric score in the comments box and grade them for accuracy. Use your carefully crafted rubrics consistently. One example, you can creatively use rubrics to reinforce students slowing the tempo to get as many correct notes as possible. Reward students for slowing the assignment down to get the notes correct, but at the same time, encourages them to increase the tempo gradually. Use your rubrics to focus your students on one fundamental at a time, such as articulations, dynamics, intonation. Then combine rubrics to lead to an overall musical performance. Articulations, dynamics, phrasing, intonation, all four for a final performance. Create rubrics that are clear and easy enough to use that you can have the students eventually grade themselves. This will help students self-correct in the future. Ungraded assignments. An opportunity to send practice-only assignments. You can still offer suggestions of improvement and or encouragement. A way to take the pressure off getting the grade. Focus students on a mastery learning concept. Here's an example of an ungraded assignment. Read the instructions and you can see what you're asking your students to do. Performance Plus series. Look at and consider using one of our Performance Plus titles. Let's take a look inside MakeMusic Cloud at a Performance Plus title. The quickest way to find Performance Plus titles is to do a search, and you will now see all of the titles in MakeMusic Cloud that are in the Performance Plus series, and it will include band, orchestra, and choir. So let's open up a Performance Plus series band work. Take a look at it quickly. And you're going to notice a few things that are a little different. First of all, this one is opening up with exercises. So for this particular piece, the composer, who happens to be Chris Bernatas, wrote out 5 exercises that he believes are going to improve your technical skills and enable you to perform the piece better. Once the students have done those, they can also go to the entire full-blown performance. And of course, they would hear a great recording, as you do in all of our MakeMusic Cloud performances. But what makes this even more valuable is you can print the parts. You don't even have to have a print subscription. All of the Performance Plus series are printable. And what I truly love is we now have from the composer
Hello, my name is Chris Bernatas, and I'm the composer of Ironworks. I'm really happy that you're playing this piece and hopefully you're going to perform it in a concert. Check out the exercises.
So as you can see, you now have the composer themselves giving your students some detailed instructions about how best to perform that piece. For choir, the parameters are just slightly different. There's no video, but you now have a voice predominant part so that when you're rehearsing with your students, they can hear their voices very clear and the accompaniment is softly in the background. Let's just take a quick look at a performance piece in the choir. Okay, so let's look for a choral number in our Performance Plus series. So here's a great one. Let's start with that. I'm going to open that up, and what you'll be presented for is the full performance. Notice it's also printable, but we also have the voice predominant part. So if I'm on soprano, I'm going to get a soprano voice predominant part. Let's listen to this quickly. Actually, let's start with the sopranos come in so we can hear that.
I do not aspire to riches, not of precious gems or gold.
So we are now providing great support practice for our choral students. The full performance you'll hear is going to be a lot different with the whole choir singing.
Not aspire to riches, not of precious gems or...
So there you have it. Some great resources inside of MakeMusic Cloud. Probably one of my greatest exciting tips for using MakeMusic Cloud is to take full advantage of Performance Plus. Consistency. Create assignments on the same day each week. Create due dates at the same time each week. This one is for percussionists only. When teaching percussion roles, consider writing out the assignment you plan on giving in Compose using 16th notes in place of the roll. Once your students are comfortable playing it the way it's written below in Compose, then we transition back to the normal percussion notation in the piece, and we have students who are able to perform those. When students have demonstrated that ability to play the assignment as written, instruct them to bounce their sticks on all the 16th notes that will eventually become rolls. Once they are successful at that, you can assign the original work with rolls and the instructions. They should sound the same. Teaching roles this way allows you to individualize your teaching to help make sure students have the necessary skills before moving on.